These walls can talk. Open your mind and listen.
Trailing down these hollow halls, can you hear me? Staring down these story walls, can you see me?
There we go.
Hey, okay, we're on. This time, no technical glitches. Are we going to hear the theme song start
No,
again?
we're good.
Okay, you better set it up so I can get those pictures up. You're going to have to do that because,
Yeah.
me being the technical firebrand that I am, will probably mess that up. So tonight, anyway, we're talking about the SAD, the Scum, and the Charlatans of the paranormal. Look, I have no aversion to speaking to this topic, and I'm not going to necessarily bring up people that are now, because I don't need to end up in a libel case, but to say that this is a statement of my opinion and not that of the television station, whatever shit you're supposed to say like that to keep things off label. This is my words. And, by virtue, I guess your words too. Tonight, I'll have some things to say, and Fiona will have some things to say. She's got her own presentation happening.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, look, I want to talk about, before I even get into the SAD, I want to talk about something that is, we got a big damn world going on right now and war happening over in Ukraine and a bunch of horrible crap happening. So what's happening to all your social media people?
Oh, I was just making sure that we were still live.
Okay, there are people watching on other platforms right now that can't see all the pictures. They're just seeing our pretty face, right? Or my good looking face. What we do, and this will go into the SAD, we've really got to check ourselves, okay? We've got to check ourselves because we're not experts at anything. We're not doctors. We're not celebrities. We're not perfect. We're not, when I see teams that are getting ahead of themselves and above themselves as to what station in life that we actually carry, we're a very niche market, right? We're not helping homeless people. We're not feeding kittens on the street. We didn't invent basketball. We're basically, running around in the dark, playing with things, hoping that we're going to get results. So, we got to really check what we do. And, we don't and shouldn't expect some kind of nobility based on this, nor should we expect certain communities to have our back. When we out there, and sometimes I see the teams that talk about their scientific investigations. No, you're not scientists. You're not doing things scientifically. You're not establishing trends.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, relinquishing data and having peer reviews and having hypotheses written about things. You're not, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're ghost hunting or paranormal investigating or whatever you want to call it. I hate the term ghost hunter, by the way. I really do.
Yeah, it seems pretty childish.
It is. Look, I'm an investigator. I investigate accounts of the paranormal and I give my opinion, and that's what that is. But what we do is not scientific, and do know that the scientific community laughs themselves stupid at what we do. Okay, there's no batch of scientific group out there that's thinking we should really get a hold of some of these paranormal investigators and have a chat. And what they're coming up with. And I think that this extends completely to the crypto and to the UFO thing, because look, we have 3 fields that were being investigated that frankly, we've not come up with any proof. There's no proof of any of it. Okay. You would think even like crypto, just for argument's sake, it's been like a trillion years since we've been investigating Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever you want to call it. But for some reason, nobody can get a clear still image.
Of course.
Trap cams, drones,
It's always moving.
thermal cams, little robots walking through the forest with cameras in their heads and laser beams shooting everywhere.
Right.
And they're still not catching anything. So I think the odds of that happening are kind of nilch. But however, we do have a show coming in a couple of weeks. So I will have somebody who does do crypto and UFOs to speak to it. I speak out of ignorance to it because I maybe think it's stupid. I don't know.
I just think like it really depends like where you're coming from, because like some cultures talking about certain crypto is like,
Well, it's not
like,
crypto to them.
It's part of their culture, whereas to us, like it just seems so like
okay, we're Welsh.
Yeah.
So are we expecting the Welsh dragon to?
Maybe.
That'd be cool and maybe a bit intimidating and freaky. I have a Welsh
He's
dragon.
up there.
Is he up there? Oh, that's way too tall for me to reach. That's like 6 feet up.
How to get up there?
I'd need a ladder. My wife put it up there.
Okay, it's about 15 feet taller than you.
Yeah. Mean person. Anyway, so I'm not expecting a Welsh dragon. Glad to see 3 of you out there. Hopefully, some people will
We
catch
got up
this.
to 6.
We'll say that for the sad, you know what? If there's one thing that COVID has done, it was kind of bad before COVID, and then it got still for a while. Then now it's incredible saturation of teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's just an obliteration of teams out there right now. I'm not saying, look, I don't say doing anything right, but there's definitely some things being done wrong, as well as podcasts. Look, I know within my own fraternal organization of teams, there's like about 70 podcasts I'm aware of. Some of them are new. Some people like Cat Ward has had a podcast going for years. I had one for a while, then I stopped, and I came back. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know how much necessarily more I'm going to keep this podcast going. Largely because I put in content and research, and then it reaches out to an audience of about 35 people.
Okay.
So why? Obviously you're not that good technically if you keep your system keeps shutting down.
No,
What's happening? Like our beautiful faces are not.
No, it's sitting on my home.
She's playing with her smartphone because we're broadcasting on Instagram and
1 second.
TikTok. Or something. Did we stop?
No.
Did it stop?
No, it's
So
sitting
people on TikTok can still see us?
in a second.
I don't think so.
1 second.
Or it's not TikTok.
No, we're
It's
on.
not Grinder.
Yeah, we're on Grinder. No, we're on.
What the hell's Grinder?
You know what Grinder is?
I don't know what Grinder is. I'm 51 years old.
Oh my god. No, I'm gonna go remind people on Facebook.
What Grinder is?
Yes, I'm gonna remind them what a gay dating app is, because that's exactly what we need to do. No, go talk.
Okay, so sad. Proliferation of teams, saturation. It is incredible right now what I'm seeing out there with teams. And the problem is your clientele is running right along with it, right? Like they're out there sure that their house is haunted, and what the clientele unfortunately isn't asking for is for you to come in and investigate the account of it being haunted. Is we want you don't put you'll shut the computer off. You put
The
your leg
button's
up
right
there. So they don't want that. What they want is justification. I'll probably say I've had 15 requests for investigation throughout the month of February, so it's pretty slow. And we have 2 set up out of it. Okay. What the heck? What are you doing?
I'm trying to share it.
I don't have to hear myself. My daughter's really screwing the show up. So, but what happens, of course, is that 13 out of those 15, you respond to, and they send you a picture of an orb. And then all of a sudden you're saying like what you think the actual answer is, and then they're not interested in investigation anymore. Like 1 minute it was like, I need your help. And then the next minute is, oh, you're not coming to justify what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to possibly argue with it. So it is what it is. And unfortunately, there's a lot of teams out there right now that can be a little candy about things. And they're out there so that they can give the client what they want. They're definitely doing some things where very unproven, that's again simple and stupid to say, but things that
You said it.
well, things that don't work, shouldn't work, or have been shown to not yield proper results and shown to yield false positives. And they want to go out there so that they can give the client what they want to hear. The feel good, the answer, the yes. And the same thing is that's what they're attracting with investigators, is everybody who gets a pat on the back and everybody who is right. And it's as simple as that. And this doesn't make for a cohesive team often. My team has been through hundreds of
Mhm.
members, well, quite literally. That happens because, to me, I'm less worried about fame and more worried about integrity. And with integrity, sometimes, the real discussions actually happen. And it's probably not as exciting as having everybody look around a machine that makes little stick figures dancing around. And then we can tell the client that their house is haunted and that we saw a little stick figure in our SLS cam, Connect STS, whatever that stupid thing is called. And that's proof, right? And that there's a vortex.
Ooh, I'm not a part of TAPS on my new Facebook account. That's what I was trying to do.
Oh.
That's
Well,
okay.
you changed your Facebook account.
Yeah.
So, it's much as the same as how sad I think I see teams over the years investigating. They'll be like, oh, we investigated so and so jail in England,
Yeah.
or what castle in England, and we got this EVP saying, get out. We were trying to contact the spirit of King Richard. I was just saying this to Sandy, and I said, it kind of makes me chuckle because we watched shows years ago where they'd be walking around castles and speaking in bold language. But the language that they spoke 500 years ago is not the language we speak now.
No.
Not even in Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, no, not even remotely the same.
Right, you'd be able, your fourth night,
Yeah.
dick wad dong, and that just not like we talk. And then we get, we're getting EVPs like what we talk.
Yeah, it would happen like that.
And I said, the best you could hope for in a place that isn't your language is just by the sound of your voice getting reactions.
Right.
But, they're coming back with these bullshit answers and all that. Look, I'd be excited to investigate a castle.
Yeah.
Right. But nowhere am I going to think that I'm communicating directly.
No.
Right. It's as much as the same as even we investigated, West Virginia Penitentiary.
Mm-hmm.
But say if you were trying to talk to somebody who was even in the 50s, the vernacular that we use
Way different.
is still way different. That's 40, 50 years,
Mhm.
right? Or I think it's 40, maybe 60, whatever. So you're gonna have different euphemisms, different slang, whatever. So I think it's sad that teams don't necessarily do their due diligence before they go in on investigations like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been guilty of it as well. And that's through pure ignorance, right? You learn over time. And that's why I don't say that our team is right. I could say that we have honesty and integrity, but then the next word comes out that I've been heard slung around like a bag of wild cat shit everywhere. God, it makes me so damn mad.
It's gonna puke saying it.
Credible. We have credibility.
You can't be credible in a pseudoscience field.
Thank you. That's exactly
How
it.
do you judge credibility?
Yeah, what makes you credible? Okay, I'm an experienced investigator. That's it.
That's different than saying you're
Yeah.
a credible investigator. Who told you you're credible?
I'm not credible at all. There's nothing I can show what my results have been. So I've been lucky.
Oh, it's like taking a shit. I can show you my shit, but who's to say it's the best shit in the world?
Oh, you're my daughter. But yeah, I can't get away from that. So you just ruined the rest of the show. Thanks. It's over. So yeah, credibility. I've heard a lot of people talking, and not just one, as I know there'll be teams out there that friend me and that want to work with us, and that's fine. Use the credible term. We're literally making it up as we go along, guys. There are things that I've changed in my investigation almost monthly over the years. That's maybe the most scientific thing, when you're discovering things that you're doing poorly and trying to fix them, I guess. I don't know. But if you're not doing peer review with your stuff and you're not accepting the fact that your stuff may not be, credible, see, I can't even use the word without chuckling. So that's really what's sad out there, is that there's a lot of teams that are putting themselves out there as being that. And then, now we're marrying things up with psychics as well. Whatever, if that's your gig, okay, it's not my gig. It's akin to I see the same shit happening that was happening years ago. Okay, this will ruffle some feathers, but it's not out of it. It's not like our team is mostly made up of not that religion is part of it. White Anglo-Saxon
Yeah.
people, right? Um, so if we were to go into a house and do a smudging, and that first off, that house itself is also not of any indigenous background.
Yeah, that's just inappropriate. It just
Well,
doesn't make
and I'm not
sense.
even talking about appropriation.
No,
of it.
no,
I'm
but
talking about like it makes no sense.
Regardless of the cultural appropriation aspect of it, it's just also like it doesn't make sense because
Like-
we have no cultural ties to it.
Right? Would I be walking around the house with a Torah
No.
and giving Yiddish blessings?
Well, yeah, it just makes no sense.
I'm not Jewish.
No.
I don't adhere to the Jewish faith.
No, it just.
So therefore, it means nothing, right? It's like, I'll tell you what, a little bit to this. Like, I studied martial arts for a very long time, and for years, they always say at the beginning of your classes, you would do like a Japanese incantation. And I was in an art called ninjutsu, so they would talk about doing kuji-in, hand folding and whatever. Well, that's a Shinto practice, and I'm like, it makes no sense. I'm not Shinto.
Yeah.
Why would I be doing a Shinto blessing at the start of class? You do honoring something, but like, it's what are you clicking on? There's no comments. Nobody's even on. Look, somebody that's watching, would you type in a comment, please?
No.
Are we muted?
No,
Are you not
we're
hearing
not.
us?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure someone
So
will
anyway,
get back
that's
to
the
me.
sad thing. I'm just talking the quality of what's happening out there, and unfortunately, with things are starting to open up, and this is a good thing because we're all out there investigating again. We're
We
doing
got
what
a
we love.
heart react. Oh, there's.
Hi.
Rob.
Rob.
Hi.
Hey, Robert.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Dan. Okay. So again, credibility. Stupid word. Very stupid word. At least for most of us. All right. Unless you've developed something that is do I believe in ghosts? I'm not sure if I believe in ghosts, Shan. Certainly over the years, I've had years where I'm like, yes, I had that wild experience that prompted my faith.
Yeah.
So that's an okay word to use, faith. I have faith that there's something else. I do, but I have a lot less faith in what we do. Look, there's no secret. Hey, Ollie. Like I have chambered the idea of shuttering the team seriously for about a year. Because I've been able to predict every negative aspect that has occurred. It could just be COVID, depression, whatever you want to call it, and have generally been right. B, I look at the saturation of things that I want to do this podcast, and then I look out and I'm like, there's 9,000 podcasts, but they're all saying the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Every one of them is talking about the same thing. And then the paranormal unity thing. Oh, scrap that shit, guys. Paranormal unity. It's paranormal unity as long as we're all agreeing with each other and patting each other on the back and going, yes, I know that orb thing. And what the hell, I was watching the paranormal podcast on the validity of orbs. How is that even a topic now?
Of course.
If we've learned so much about that shit, and it's again, paranormal unity. Yes, I agree with you. Of course, you believe this, and your team is made up of 10 like-minded psychics that are all going to have wonderful predictions about everything.
Of course.
Of course you are. I predict that this house has got a vortex in the basement. I predict that there's 9 spirits here. They're all talking to each other, and they're going to take your children, and your cat is scared of them. Your poor cat. Your cat doesn't give a shit about anything. I have a cat. They don't care. And I have a dog too. And it doesn't care. As long as you're petting it and giving it food. They don't look at ghosts. The dog's not going, huh? Your dog isn't. My dog isn't. We have labs. They're stupid. They don't do anything like that. Right? So, like, even when clients say to me about, well, my pet looks in the corner and barks. Well, my dog does that too.
Same.
Because he's just not all there.
Stupid.
Right? He's a dog. And our cat looks at our dog like, and then he goes to sleep because he doesn't care what I think either. Okay, they're animals. Going on beyond that. Okay, great. So we're going to talk about the history of things and what's sad and scummy in the past. So what I want to discuss is, and I'm going to get you to bring up the photo portion.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about like the grandfathers of what it is that we do. Back in the day, go to the
Yeah,
picture
no.
in picture, right? We're trying to get this done right. This is the first time I uploaded all these pictures, by the way.
Who would you like?
Do that one. Do table tipping.
Oh, okay.
So years ago, that's great. Look at that. Look, see, we're right in the middle of a picture.
That's not what
That's stupid. Look.
Okay. One sec. No,
Oh,
it doesn't work.
That's not it.
Yes, I hear you guys. Maybe we can't do the photos the way you want it to do.
Oh, that sucks.
Arg.
Okay, go back to the way it was.
Okay, one sec. Oh my god, I can hear it downstairs. No, it won't. Just kidding. All right. Hold on, guys. I don't think we can do it the way you want
Okay,
it
then
to.
take it.
So we'll just do our chat's background and we will just use their words, I guess. Okay.
Can you hear us now? Somebody type if you can hear us now.
I can hear us downstairs. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, Dan said that we. Okay, Shan, can you hear me?
Yeah. So I think it has to do
With the pictures.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we'll figure
great.
out-
Okay, so I guess I can't put up the pictures, or
okay.
wait.
No.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
okay,
Don't worry
okay.
about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a picture, and then we're going to jump out of that picture. Will that work, or is it just too much to go back and forth?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, first picture.
Okay. Hold on.
I guess it's my fault.
Okay. So you won't be able to hear us when we're showing you the photo. So just 1 second.
All right, hopefully you can hear us again, and it's that easy. So that was a picture of table tipping. Spiritualists, what they used to do is everybody would get around a big seance type setting, and they would use their feet to tip the tables. Okay, so this was a fairly large reign of bullshit that came along into the spiritualist faith. That, and they used to spew ectoplasm out of their mouth, which I think was actually coughing up cheesecloth. I wasn't around during the 20s and 30s, so I don't know that. But I think that's what they did. And realistically, what the people that kind of stopped that from happening were two different people. And she's going to show both these pictures.
I think you're supposed to add them to the overlay.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Next time.
Anyway, okay.
Okay, so first is going to be a picture of Harry Price.
Okay.
Next will be Doyle and Judy.
Are you talking about Harry Price?
Okay. So that was Harry Price. Harry Price was kind of the godfather of what we did. Realistically, when you take a look at things, that he was big for the Borley Rectory over in England. He was part of this, I can't pronounce it right, the Psychic Society. But Robert would be able to pronounce it properly. But I just can't because I'm missing too many teeth up here. So, yeah, I'm white trash. So Harry Price, did EVP work. He did a lot of debunking. You'll hear him in her presentation. Used to go out and go to seances and evaluate the legitimacy of certain people. He had different kinds of ideas. Like one of his methods back then was using a ticker tape machine, electrical impulses, creating a punch card. You know what I mean? So again, he was experimenting with things. Next picture.
Okay, who are you showing now?
You're going to show Doyle and Houdini.
Okay.
Okay, so that was Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini. Arthur Conan Doyle was a really famous spiritualist. Of course, he worked Sherlock Holmes, devout spiritualist, but had a good mindset. Harry Houdini, I think people probably heard of Harry Houdini, unless you're like 3. You've heard of Harry Houdini, I hope. Like every only you're Gen P or whatever. Harry Houdini was a debunker. He would go and out all kinds of psychics doing their thing. Well, they worked together. They were close friends, even though really they had polar opposite minds on things, which is completely fine. If you have a rational mind and you're not a sad, pathetic idiot, you could be like, look, okay, let's take us, you and I, father, daughter.
Mhm.
That, we have a connection that we can't argue out of
Right.
as much as we've tried. You are a supporter of a Labor Party, the NDP,
Mhm.
and I am a conservative. For those in American, I'm a Republican, fiscally. So we should completely disagree on everything, I guess, and fight and hate each other. But we don't. We get along, right? Because we can have like-minded things and talk about it, and that's okay. As long as you do it with intelligence. Well, that's what they did, right? Okay, so they talked about things, and they really smashed apart that whole scene back then. Now, basically spiritualism is almost relegated to Lilydale in New York State, in which case you've got about 9 million psychics living in one little tiny square mile. And you pay for every single place that you go to. Unfortunately, now, of course, when you see palm readers, tarot readers, whatever, they don't really have any affiliation to the spiritualist church or raising in that. They just basically one day decided that they were a medium or a psychic. Look, they're really good at reading people. If one thing they're good at, it's kind of like, it's like the psychology of people.
Right.
They know that it's funny. You sit down for a psychic reading, and what do they say? Like, you're really the type of person that doesn't take shit from anybody. You love travel. You think very outwardly, and you want your life to be, of course, because that's everybody in the world. Who the hell lives their life going, I'm really happy working at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't want anything else, and I want to live in my parents' basement. There's actually a lot of people. Wait, you live in his parents' basement.
I pay rent.
You pay rent, right? So that was them, right? And then we had some fantastic people in history that came along. So now I want you to put up the picture of James Randi. Okay, James Randi. James Randi was a magician. He was a magician. Definitely a very flairful personality. Some people would probably think that he was outlandish, and he was. But what he also was an incredible mind. James Randi had the $1 Million Challenge. What's that? Credible Psychics. No, he made me say it. Thanks, Bob. James Randi had the $1 Million Challenge, where somebody could come across with a psychic or a magic phenomena that he couldn't debunk. He'd give you $1 million. And you know what? He had it until he died. Really quirky, weird dude. So you would think he would align himself more with the people that wear dragon outfits in the park and stab each other and pretend that they're knights and they live around the round table, and the Myrthan moth of, went off on a tangent there, didn't I? So he was that kind of brute of person, but he was incredibly gifted as far as his mind. And one of the people that he kind of busted was, nope, down the bottom. Down the bottom. Yes. For the older people, of course, I'm speaking to Dan and Robert. You'll recognize him. That is Uri Geller. Uri Geller. He was a wonderful psychic phenomenon. He moved things. He was a spoon bender. He bent spoons and forks, and would go on the Johnny Carson show, which I know nobody has seen that's under the age of 40, and bend spoons. Ooh, and Uri Geller, met with James Randi, and Randi, Dan, you're around before television. You're around before psychics. I hearken before Christianity.
Oh my God.
So Uri Geller was another one of these. When I'm going to start, and he's still alive, so I got to be really careful with what I say. Sure, he was one of the charlatans of what goes on. He's in obscurity now. It doesn't matter. Bending spoons isn't interesting anymore. Now we want to see somebody fold inside out, with their skin and their organs on the outside. Do that, man.
No.
Now I'm going to be impressed. There are some people that were like, magicians that would openly admit. They would openly admit, like David Copperfield, who was incredible. He's worth $900 million. He's done shit that I can't figure out, right? And that's the wonderful thing about, illusion. But that's what he says. But Uri Geller, through this power of telekinesis, which still hasn't been proven, was bending spoons. So I would consider that a charlatan because he got rich based on this ridiculous sideshow. Who else do I want to bring up now? Sylvia Brown. So now I'm sorry we have to do this way with the photos, okay?
It's
But
his fault.
it's my fault. That is my fault. I got ahead of this and I thought I'll impress my daughter and I'll get all the photos I need into the program. So all I have to do is click on them, and then for some reason it shut off the audio. Sylvia Brown. Sylvia Brown was pretty famous for her psychic exploits, and she would go on and she would work with the police. Twice she went on the Montel Williams show and a few other shows of that kind of ilk, and basically stated that, look, your child is still like missing children. That's what her forte was.
Oh.
Your child is still alive.
Oh.
Whereas like 3 days prior to the show, they had found that child stuffed in between rocks. But then yet also told another family that your child's gone. I'm sorry, honey. They always talk stupid. They always talk like they give a shit. They don't. Honey, I'm sorry. Your child's up in the heavens and looking down on you, and they love you very much. They're giving me to give you a molecular hug. A molecular hug makes any sense whatsoever, but that's the word I used. They're feeling you. And then not like 5 days after that show aired, the kid showed up at the door. So, you could do further research into this. This is just my memories of what happened. But so like for every one person that's kind of gifted about it, there's 10,000 of them that are full of shit, right?
Sure.
So unfortunately, that's why we don't do the psychic thing on our show or our thing, because there's just no way of validating things. Let's take it to Lorraine Annette. Look, I'm not going to say a lot of terrible things about Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were famous. Ed was more an investigator. They did some pretty hefty work. I'll give them that. They investigated some place I wish I could have done. And they had a couple movies based off their findings. That's about it. Like, that's where fame starts to take over. And I think Ed and Lorraine Warren were kind of like the, beginnings of paranormal stardom.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Like they just kind of kicked over that whole, you're an investigator. And why were they famous? Well, let's be honest. I mean, if you're going back into the 60s and the 70s, there weren't exactly a roving band of paranormal investigators out there that were at least on TV, right?
No.
So now you had them. And then the psychics came along with them about the same time. And then everybody just started to get mush for brains, right? Until eventually what this did was it moved into this new realm of investigators, right? So let's go with, and I'm trying not to, here's my notes. Here, I show everybody notes every single time. I can't read my notes. My wife is downstairs laughing because she can't read my writing, and neither can I. But I wrote it down. So you're going to put down Akora. Never heard of her. Proof that all psychics are Scottish. Oh, it's true.
Every single one of them.
I can feel it. Oh yes, I can feel it coming close to me. I a strange small boy. He's in the hallway. I'm not even doing it right, but I'm doing it damn closer than what some other people. I always hear people bastardizing Scottish accents with Irish accents. There's no Irish psychics. There's not, because Irish people be like, good for sake, it's stilly scum that looks stupid. Stop that. Right? That's what it's true. All psychics are Scottish. I'm Welsh. I can pick on the Scots and the Irish. This guy was a new breed. I won't say new breed. He was like middle breed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the psychics had become famous. Okay, so now we're going into full charlatanism. Like that, right? Now we're on Most Haunted, which was, with Ghost Hunters was kind of like the first, like you had shows in the 70s, but like Most Haunted and Ghost Hunters were the first ones to really like make that pow through that veil. And everybody loved I loved Most Haunted. Most Haunted was actually brilliant. It was influential to me.
Yeah.
Because like they had that cool green chroma key.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that night shot is so cool. You putting on comments?
Yeah, because we have one.
I'm gonna be done my spiel soon.
Nightmare Alley. Great movie and story of the rise and fall of Charlotte.
Never seen it. Now I'm going to. So going to Derek Acora. All right, so Derek Acora was full of shit for many years, but because he had a cool accent. Mike Arturi, co-worker and friend, Profasco.
There you go. He says nice.
Derek Acora was another useless piece of monkey shit, and he's dead now, so I can make fun of him. What? So Kieran O'Keefe, which,
and if they're real, well, then they're gonna listen.
Well, if I'm proven, I don't have a picture of Kieran up there, do I?
You do not.
Okay, you can look up your own picture of Kieran O'Keefe.
Okay.
Kieran O'Keefe is a parapsychologist who I don't always agree with. Okay, you know what I mean. In this field, sometimes when you get to a certain level, you get a certain amount of arrogance to it. Look, I'm simple white trash. I'm the first one to admit that. I've just been doing this stupid thing for 30 years, which might actually make me stupider than most for doing this for almost 30 years. Think about that. Like if you're not doing anything worth merit, why are you doing it? And I don't get paid. I don't get paid for it.
But you liked it.
I've never made money at it.
But
So
you liked it.
these people have made money at it. So anyway, Derek Acora, I go back. So they made an investigation. I'll tell you the story about this, right? Where ahead of time, with the museum director or whatever it was, I think it was maybe a jail. They made up this name of a South African jailer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the damn name? I have it written down. It was Creed Kafer. Something like that. My writing is terrible. Creed Kafer, we'll say. Made sure that Derek Acora was in earshot of the discussion that they were having about somebody that they had made up.
Huh.
Okay. So him and the museum director were in cahoots with each other about this because he was so bothered by this shit that Acora was doing. Right?
Okay.
So of course, in the middle of the investigation, he got possessed.
Oh.
With Kieran Kiefer, and he started doing his thing. Well, whatever, Kieran Kiefer was an anagram for Derek Faker. It was made up ahead of time. And after that, he was released from the show.
Right.
Because it was obviously exposed the fact that he was an idiot.
Right.
Along with, one of them was screaming, one of them was threatening to beat up ghosts, and the other one was getting possessed every single show. Right? So who else are we going to pick on? I can't look. Yes, we're paid in coffee and occasionally pizza. Yes, Shani, more truth than reality. Robert says, just like your favorite person, Zach. I can't speak poorly about that person because he's still very out there and very, very litigious. Not that, look, there's 6 people on this podcast, and there'll probably be another 18 that watch it, but it'll be the 17th person that watches it. That's his friggin' lawyer, okay? That seems to think that, I, who make probably $400,000 a year, can afford to pay the fees. So, yeah, look, I guess I could say I'm not the biggest fan of Zach Baggins. I will not openly say that he's a charlatan. The Great Kreskin. Okay, well, was Kreskin a Canadian? I think Kreskin was a Canadian. Maybe I'm too young to even know better. That's why I'd have to ask you, Robert. Right?
Yeah.
And you've never heard of the Great Kreskin?
No.
No, exactly.
Hold on.
Yeah, don't even check your notes. You haven't heard of
I
him.
think it might be in my notes.
We haven't heard of him. So again, a charlatan. Derek Acora was a charlatan. Oh, he was a psychic. Sylvia Brown was a psychic. Okay, so you kind of wonder why some of us don't take kindly to the whole psychic thing. And honestly, again, I grew up in the church, which was hundreds of psychics. So I've been around them, right? So, Lorraine and Ed. Ed, I can respect. Lorraine, my mother had some dealings with Lorraine Warren way back in the day. And I was always told when I was a little kid, because Lorraine Warren was already 140 when I was an adult, that you should just be careful.
Born in New Jersey.
But that doesn't mean he wasn't like Canadian. Well, no,
That's exactly what that means.
no, because there's lots of people that were born in the States that live here who wouldn't want to be Canadian. If you, okay. Send money to Tammy Faye. Okay, well, that's a religious thing, though. That's, Tammy Faye and Jim Baker, definitely charlatans, and they paid for it in the end, right? Pardon me, just coughing up my COVID. Let's go to the next person I'm going to bring up. Let's see. Who have I brought up? Hold on. Okay, so I can pick that, or that, right? So let's go with Ryan. Okay. Okay, more modernists of us will recognize this as Ryan Buell. Ryan Buell is still alive, and I am not going to bring up anything that isn't already public record. So no fucking lawyers. Look,
Why is he in jail?
he's not in jail right now. It's in court right now.
Okay.
So basically the deal with this, and I know Chip Coffey had made comments to it, who is, again, a psychic, really nice guy, a little dramatic.
Okay.
Part of Kindred Spirits, which again, a show I don't care too much for because it's really dramatic. Oh my God, do you feel that? Yes, I did. So, the Ryan Buell, who was originally in Paranormal State, which has borne of a few people. Chip Coffey is famous because of it. Katrina Weidman came from that show. And Ryan, who fell from grace, who has been busted with assault and battery on his boyfriend, having stolen property, addicted. Look, he had a drug addiction. Okay, I'm not going to use that against him, right? Because nowadays we have to be people that are addicted to drugs. But he's had some issues. Well, one of the things that had happened is he was doing the Conversations with the Dead tour. I don't know how many cities and states it was. It was like him and Motley Crue. All right, no, it was him and touring with Motley Crue and Metallica. But he would get up, supposed to get up on stage and do whatever. So this is where the charlatan aspect comes behind this. And Chip had spoken to it. He had people buy tickets to it. And I'm going, okay, I love early Paranormal State. Okay, you're kind of goofy. Look, Paranormal State was fun until you realized the entire show was nothing but a spirit following him around. How egotistical. Anyway, and I've spoken to Ryan on the phone on 2 or 3 occasions. Nice guy. But so this tour that he was doing, charging money, blah, 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 right? Then all of a sudden he has a pancreatic cancer diagnosis. Whole paranormal world. I remember I was part of it. All went, oh my God, can we do something? And everybody lost their cookies, right? So then it turns out his mother comes out and says he never got diagnosed. He had a drug addiction.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
So not only is he a liar, he's an asshole, or was being an asshole. I can't say he is an asshole because that's litigious or slander. He was being an asshole. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think he was being an asshole.
I'll allow it.
Okay. So $80,000, more money than I make, okay, in ticket sales. Doesn't refund any of the money. Chip Coffey comes out and states that he actually never even booked venues. Oh. Right. Okay. So look, it's in court right now, and maybe it's wrong, but sometimes when it's a duck and it smells like a duck, it smells like a duck. If it tastes like, I like duck.
Sure.
Oh, duck's good. A little dry if you cook it wrong.
Yeah, but all games like that.
Yeah.
Cook it wrong.
But does the term if it smells like a duck?
I have no idea.
If it sounds like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Quack, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, and that's just all I'm going to say about that. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying that's very charlatanistic. That's a word. I made it up, or is it real? Behavior.
It's a duck.
It's
Yes.
a duck. It's a duck. Right. So it is what it is, guys. That wasn't the coolest thing, and it hurt my feelings because it's actually really nice. Okay. Next, let's see. This is going to be unpopular until you get to the end of
You
it.
have these two.
Yes.
Huge eyes.
Huge eyes. Yes,
It
her,
poops like a duck. It's a psychic. Yes, Robert. Precisely.
so that's Mark and Debbie Constantino. They were. I'm gonna shit on them a little bit right here, and then I'm gonna say obviously there was some tragedy towards the end because I don't mean ill will to anybody, because I don't happen to like Zach Baggins. I don't want anybody to go hurt him. I don't want him to get sick. So Mark and Debbie Constantino, they're gone now. I mean that in a literal sense. They were EVP experts. Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Hire an expert. and
Hire an
make
expert.
something up.
I know that if I'm recording this show, right? So here's one of the devices I use, just one of our workhorses. I bring this into a house. I can't guarantee that I'm going to get an EVP, but they were EVP experts on shows like Ghost Adventurers and whatnot. Very popular, magnanimous personalities. Okay. I don't understand the whole expert thing. I don't know how you can be an expert at EVPs. I think it's just luck. I think what you could be at is, I think that I've got a better process for gathering EVP if like you make the setting better.
Sure,
I may be-
process,
I'm-
but you
yeah.
can't be an expert at like collecting it.
Right. I may be better at listening for them, maybe judging them,
Sure.
maybe have a bit more integrity on what demerits. That's not a word. Oh, you just screwed up our show. What builds what basically states what a good EVP is.
Yeah.
Okay. But to be an expert is just stupid, right? Like it's like saying I'm an expert at sex, I'm an expert at this, I'm an expert at that. Like you're just not. You're all fumbling around in the dark like everyone else. Well, it's sex. You are fumbling around in the dark unless you like the light.
Why are
Or
your lights
spotlights.
off? Do you not like looking at yourself?
I'm 51 years old. No, I don't like looking at myself. God. I shower with the lights off, so I don't have to see. So anyway, the tragedy of that story is that Mark and Debbie Constantino was a murder-suicide. There was domestic violence between two of them. He killed her and then himself.
Oh my god.
Shitty, horrible thing. Like, yeah, it's terrible, right? That's a loss.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a
yeah,
bit.
just a bit. Then what that brings into is this next person, and I know Robert's going to jump up and down when I bring him up.
And then finally I get to talk.
No,
during
probably
the
not.
hour.
You're not going to talk.
Yeah.
How long have we been on? 47 minutes.
And
We haven't
it's
even been
all
on an
been
hour.
you.
Shut up. Put up him. I don't care if I get sued. This is Steve Huff from Huff Paranormal, creator of devices such as the Wonder Box. The wonderful talking to it and it comes out like that. Right? Made everybody like, oh my god, I gotta have that toy because it transfers your voice and somebody else's voice and a radio and whatever, among other devices. Also, yeah, there you go, Robert. Thank you for your reaction. Steve Huff, EVP specialist, actually had said the comment, you got to get them while they're fresh. Let me take that back. I better be careful with that. He said something related to about like that. Didn't maybe say exactly that verbatim, but like basically you got to get them at that point. Steve Huff has done EVP sessions with Prince and Michael Jackson and Lady Diana. He also did, right, remember after the Las Vegas shootings?
Yep.
Went there and did an EVP session there.
Oh.
So what's he going to hear? Gunshots and screaming? But of course, I imagine, I never heard it, but that's assumingly what he got. Okay, well, also he did it with Mark and Debbie Constantino.
Oh.
He EVP specialized the EVP specialists, which is brilliant, I guess. But that's just, it's just shitty. It's a shitty thing to do.
Is it the spirit box guy?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Look,
Basically.
do you know how much I know about all these little toys that make funny noises? Right. I don't use them. I don't use apps. I don't use any of that shit. Okay. Audio, video. Have I played with the SLS? Yeah, I had one built for me.
Yeah, you did.
And I used 200 investigations so that I could say, guess what? It's crap. But other than that, other than I'm okay with trigger devices because they're not evidence collecting devices.
No, it just assist.
They assist maybe possibly getting something. Something as innocuous as a cat ball, whatever. but it's not collecting evidence. Okay, so anyway, the other thing that this guy had done, he was having conversations with a guy by the name of Sargat Singh. Okay, I guess they were prior to death and after. So, thank you, Robert. Who is in the Star Wars series? Who was Pod One versus? Is that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen? That makes me Hayden Christensen. At least Hayden Christensen's Canadian.
That's what matters.
That's what matters. At least I'm Canadian, so I may have learned well, but I'm Canadian. So he had these conversations, and again, remember, this is just out of my memory, so don't quote me so directly, because I might have been off on a year or two, with this Sargat Singh. Well, the one great thing about this was, so he had this EVP, these conversations. I don't know whether Sargat Singh was talking about what he made for breakfast one day, or he liked baked fish. But a sound director, a sound engineer, brought a clip up of him saying the exact same thing about 8 years previous. Verbatim, same sound signature, the whole bit.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically what was happening was he was taking old sound files and filtering them to sound like EVPs. That is the epitome of shit. Okay? That makes all of us, and that's a famous person who has millions of subscribers, of little weeble heads out there listening to what he does, going, oh my God. But if you've done this and been caught doing this, I actually don't even care so much about when you do an EVP. I don't care. I mean, there's maybe a moment of sensitivity you got to put to, and there's a bit of opportunism there, but I don't like that. I think that's charlatanistic behavior, and I wouldn't do that personally. And certainly, again, when I get an EVP, I'm getting it reviewed, and I'm giving it to the client, and they can do with it what they want. Matter of fact, we just finished an investigation, and out of 6 hours of audio, we have 4 possible hits. Here, put that on the camera. How do I put that on camera? There, see? Those are our 4 possible hits that my wife went through, and then we're going to have our team listen to them, and if we can't figure it out, we're going to have it otherwise. And what we're going to do is we have a process. I listen to them because I'm the boss. And then we send them to the team, and then I think one of them might actually be you, and you might hear it and go, no, that's my voice.
Yeah.
And then we're going to follow it up, and we're going to go against the video that we made, which is filmed face forward, so we catch our faces.
Yep.
And then we can take voice samples and decibel meterage and all that noise. And then, we might look at it and go, I can't debunk this, so I might send it out and have somebody else listen to it too.
Sure.
Okay? So there's got to be a process. That is getting as close to credible process, not credible, credible process maybe, as we can be.
Yep.
So that's enough of my spizzle. It's time for your whizzle. Do I sound like a 50-year-old man?
Yes, exactly like a 50-year-old man trying to fit in. Anyway, so mine are more of the famous.
I'm going to cut you off just because that's what I do. Normally I'm drinking coffee. Tonight it's sponsored by V8. I'm drinking healthy.
You sound so good. Yes, he does, Dan. He is doing significantly better. Okay, so yes, mine are more of the famous charlatans because Dad, Dave, had assigned us chapsies. Chapsies, to do an assignment back in the fall, researching the famous charlatans of the paranormal, and I excelled at it, to say the least. So I saved my notes, and let's go. So starting with Henry Slade.
Can you do it sound interesting like me?
Wow, it's almost as if I am interesting. Okay, so to begin, we have Henry Slade, who was a fraudulent and slate writing medium. So Harry Houdini actually found the best expose on him because he put it in one of his published works. So then everyone saw how much of a fraud he was. And he was prosecuted for fraud so many times in London and sentenced to prison, for which he then fled to America because he's a pussy.
Yeah, and in America, he can get on TV.
Yes.
In America.
In the good old America.
America.
Okay, next we have Frenik Kleski, who was a physical medium critiqued by many trained magicians and known as a fraud. It seems like all these mediums are frauds. We have a pattern here. He was also an unreliable investigator with many fraudulent published works. Wow, it's almost as if we're just developing a pattern. And Harry Price found his work, to say the least, unsatisfactory.
That's the way a polite debunker would say things back then.
Yes.
Because that's basically like F you, right? Back then.
And apparently, at one point, he actually confessed to his fraud.
His name is Frenik.
Yeah,
Frenik?
Frenik, yeah,
There's a Frenik. Was it a Frenik fox? He's named after a fox?
I guess so.
I want to be named like wolf,
Okay,
dragon.
okay. We have Jan Guzik.
Sure.
Okay, a medium.
Jan Guzik.
Fraudulent production of phenomena fooled many. Wow, who would have known that he had strange powers? If anyone told me they had powers, I would go, oh, do you?
Mm.
And he began showing his talents all the way back in Warsaw. And experienced mediums took him under their wings so that they would allow more people to see it.
Well, that's like all these teams now just having people that all.
But wait, here's the best part. The talent took place in the dark so that he wouldn't get caught being fraudulent. I'm sorry, if I ever went to a magician show or a medium show and the light was off, I would leave because clearly it's fake.
There's things flying around the room.
And guess who found him to be childish and full of fraud? Harry Price.
See, like I would like to meet Harry Price.
And we just have other guys in here that, just aren't necessarily fraudulent, but also just like Yeats. Like Yeats was obsessed with the Yeats. W.B. Yeats.
W.B. Yeats.
Yes. He was obsessed with the paranormal and, communicated with spirits, in the Renaissance and traveled and had automatic spirit writing. He was an occultist. So,
He was very involved with Aleister Crowley.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, there's just so much, right? And then, we have Walter Price, worked with Harry Houdini. So, he was skeptical of spiritualism, but was a psychic phenomenist. So, like, you're on opposite ends of the spectrum there. And, and then we've got Max Dessoir, who was also investigating several mediums and just skeptical of all of them, but was an amateur magician. So these people are skeptical of these things, but then are other things that,
Mind you, to that last one, though. Break your tablet.
$600.
So, like, I'm going to take something away from some of that. I mean, obviously, if you're really learning about what people do, it's very easy to become a charlatan yourself because you know what the process is. And if you have any understanding of psychology, you're going to understand how to change people.
Right.
And I guess if you're doing magic in the dark.
2 minutes, by the way.
Only have 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it.
You don't believe in magic?
Yeah.
My fiance just asked that. Do I believe in magic?
I believe in illusion.
Yes, illusion. Do I believe?
Which to James Randi was a magician, and that last guy you spoke to was a magician.
Max Dessoir, yeah.
That's fine as long as they're I'm a magician, an illusionist. That's entertainment, okay? That's why I won't shit too much on the psychics that do the cards. I guess part of me is like, as long as you understand you're going there to get your,
Right.
I think the term is caveat emptor, buyer beware, know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Look, guys, we've got like 30 seconds left here. I promise I would never go over an hour. I lied.
Also, someone's show goes on at 9.
Someone else's show goes on at 9.
Someone on
So, peace. Stay safe.
Bye.
If you're watching from Ukraine, stay out of a bomb.
Please.
Please, And hey, G.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.